You're listening to Dean Michael here on True Radio, the home of proper good music and proper good interviews. And tonight, as always, we have a great guest for you, all the way from Manchester, and it's Steve Collins. He's the actual close protection expert and an expert in self-defense. So, hi, Steve, are you there?
Hello, Dean. Yes, I am. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
It's lovely to have you on the show, Steve. What we're going to do, as we always do on a Sunday, we give some great interviews, and we've got a special one tonight because I've been longing to interview. We just tell our listeners how we met, and we met through a close friend. He's a regular listener to our program, and that's Steve Fisher. He sort of introduced us on the internet, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Steve is a friend of mine on Facebook, and we chat about various things. We seem to be reading from the same hymn sheet most of the time. And he just said to me, because he knows what I do, he just said, how do you fancy being interviewed on radio? And I said, well, I've done one or two of these things before in the past, and I'm very happy to talk to somebody if somebody takes the interest in talking to me. So, and here we are.
There we are. And that's wonderful because, as I say, I've been longing to interview you because I'm really I've read up about you and everything. And so, Steve, can you tell us how it all began for you then?
Well, I can give you the 10-minute version or the 15-hour version. So we'll stick to the short version. By profession, I am a designer. And I've worked in the advertising industry for nigh on 50 years now as a designer, commercial designer, graphic designer, and writer. However, running parallel with that, I had a sort of a secret life, really. And that life was teaching, studying, self-defense and martial arts. And I've done that since I was about 7 years old. So between the two careers, I've got a career in advertising and design and a career in self-defense and martial arts, both sort of 50, 60 years, a long time.
So that's how it all began for you. So you learned the martial arts, you wanted to teach people this gift that you've got now.
The martial arts section really started when I was 7 years old. And it's a brief story, but it's quite amusing. My best mate was a lad called Neville, and Neville and I were joined at the hip. We grew up like brothers together. And Neville's dad drove a bus. Now, to me, this was absolutely fantastic because all my dad did was design aeroplanes. And as a 7-year-old kid, driving a big red bus was much more exciting than designing aeroplanes. At the bus depot, which is in South Manchester, they were having problems with disruptive and drunken passengers on the all-night buses coming out of Manchester. And this was like 1, 2 in the morning. And the bus conductors were getting a hard time. So the bus company decided that they were going to teach self-defense to the bus conductors. Now, they set up this sort of judo, jiu-jitsu type training course, but they also decided that they wanted to teach the kids. So Neville's dad, who remember was my hero because he drove a bus, said, right, you and you, bus depot next Wednesday night, and you're going to learn self-defense. And I was, oh, wow, this was like music to my ears. I couldn't wait to get there. However, Neville was a bit more reticent, and let's just say Neville was a bit more of a lover than a fighter. He didn't want to go at all.
Right.
But sure enough, the next Wednesday night came along. Neville's dad drove us to the bus depot, and that was the beginning of my journey into my passion for the martial arts. Neville, incidentally, spent all evening whinging and moaning and just wanting to go home. However, I took to it like a duck to water.
You took it all in then.
I took it all in. I just wanted more. I wanted to go next week, the week after that. I couldn't wait to learn this stuff. And of course, now I'm very lucky because I've been able to turn it into part of my business. And I've got one person to thank. and that's
Neville's dad.
Neville's dad.
Neville's dad.
Thank you so much, Neville's dad.
Well, that's wonderful, Steve. What we shall do, Steve, we'll play a few songs now, and then we're going to come
Okay.
back and you can tell everybody about your experiences through your life of being...
I shall try, and I hope people won't nod off.
I'm sure they won't. So, Steve Collins, thanks for being here with us this evening on True Radio, the home of proper good music.